The massive Galactic Hegemony ship entered Earth's solar system with overwhelming confidence. Its sleek silver hull gleamed against the backdrop of stars as it led a formation of 20 warships toward the third planet. Admiral Tai of the Hegemony stood tall on his command bridge, six eyes scanning the tactical displays with growing amusement. "Magnify those objects in orbit," he ordered, pointing at scattered dots surrounding Earth. The screen zoomed in to reveal what appeared to be ancient human spacecraft. Some drifted seemingly powerless, while others maintained basic orbital patterns with minimal thrust signatures. "Are those museums?" asked Officer Jin, Ta's second-in-command. "Apparently these humans keep their obsolete vessels as orbital monuments," Ta said with a clicking laugh. "How sentimental and wasteful." The Hegemony had conquered 16 species across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Their technological superiority was unquestioned, their military doctrine flawless. Earth was simply the next logical expansion target, a resource-rich world with a species that had barely ventured beyond their own moon. "No response to our hails yet," reported Communications Officer Du. "Their primitive detection systems may still be processing our arrival. Send another broadcast. Make sure they understand we come as the Galactic Hegemony. They should feel honored we chose their world," Tide ordered. Below on Earth, General Mai sat in the dimly lit Global Defense Command Center buried beneath the Rocky Mountains. Screens displayed the approaching alien armada in real time. "They're scanning our orbital platforms," reported a young lieutenant. Mai nodded calmly. "Let them look. Are the transponders functioning correctly?" "Yes, General. The old hulls are broadcasting exactly as programmed. Low power signatures, outdated communication protocols, and fake radiation leaks from apparent reactor instabilities." May permitted herself a small, tight smile. Perfect. The deception had been decades in the making. After the devastating resource wars 50 years earlier, humanity had united under the threat of extinction. Military technology advanced exponentially, but so did humanity's awareness of the cosmos. Their deep space probes and listening posts had detected the Hegemony's expansion patterns long before alien ships ever approached Earth. The defense plan was bold, appear weak. Present Earth as a primitive world with outdated technology and minimal defenses. "Incoming transmission from the alien flagship," announced Communications Director Wu. The main screen flickered to life, revealing Admiral Tai's imposing figure. His greenish skin was covered in ceremonial armor, and all 6 eyes focused intensely on the camera. "People of Earth," he began, his translated voice booming through the command center. "Your planet has been chosen to join the glorious Galactic Hegemony. Your resources will serve our greater coalition, and your people will enjoy the protection of the most powerful force in this sector. Resistance is unnecessary and unwise. You have 6 Earth hours to present your leadership for terms of submission." General Mai straightened her uniform and nodded to Director Wu. "Put me through." When she appeared on screen, Mai deliberately hunched her shoulders and lowered her gaze, the picture of submission. "Mighty Admiral," she began, her voice carefully modulated to sound nervous, "we are honored by your attention. Earth has little to offer such advanced beings, but we will assemble our global council to receive your terms." Admiral Tai seemed pleased by this response. "Wise decision. We have scanned your orbital defenses. Your technology is primitive. Submission is your only logical choice." After the transmission ended, Officer Jin approached Admiral Ta. "That was surprisingly easy. Their orbital platforms are practically floating junk." "Most species recognize the inevitable," Tai replied. "Begin scanning the planet's surface. I want complete resource mapping before negotiations begin." Back in the Earth Command Center, General Mi's demeanor transformed the moment the alien transmission cut off. She stood tall, eyes sharp with focus. "Status of Lazarus Protocol," she demanded. "All systems ready, General. The orbital fleet remains in hibernation mode. The Hegemony scans show exactly what we want them to see: dead ships and outdated technology. They've completely missed the quantum signatures. Mai nodded and activated her secure command channel. This is General Me to all section commanders. Begin awakening sequence alpha. Priority to defensive systems first, weapons second. Maintain emissions control until my direct order. Throughout Earth's orbit, inside what appeared to be floating derelicts, hidden systems silently powered up. Beneath false hull plating and disguised as maintenance compartments, advanced weapon systems prepared for activation. How long until they realize those museum pieces are actually our most advanced warships? Asked Director Wu. General Me, check the countdown timer. If all goes according to plan, not until it's far too late for them. Captain Sue opened her eyes to darkness. For a moment, she felt disoriented, her mind slowly processing the transition from hibernation to consciousness. The pod around her hummed softly as life support systems accelerated. A dim blue light activated, revealing the tight confines of her hibernation chamber. Captain, can you hear me? A voice came through the small speaker above her head. Yes, she replied, her voice raspy from disuse. How long? 53 years, 7 months, Captain. Sue took a deep breath as the pod's cover slid open. She had gone into hibernation when she was 32 years old. Chronologically, she was now 85, though her body remained unchanged. The chamber had preserved her perfectly, a living relic of humanity's darkest war. Lieutenant Jun helped her sit up. Despite being half her rank, he looked much older than her, born long after she entered hibernation. Status report, she requested, accepting a cup of water. The hegemony arrived 3 days ago. They've established orbital positions and sent diplomatic demands. General May has initiated Protocol Lazarus. Sue nodded. The plan was unfolding exactly as designed 5 decades earlier. After the colony wars nearly destroyed human civilization, Earth's remaining military leaders had devised a radical strategy. They would build ships more advanced than anything seen before, but designed to appear obsolete or non-functional. The heart of this strategy was hibernation technology that allowed crews to sleep for decades until needed. The ships themselves could operate in a minimal power state that made them appear abandoned or obsolete to scanning technology. Help me up, Sue ordered. As she stood, her legs felt weak but quickly strengthened. The medical nanites in her bloodstream were reactivating her muscles after their long dormancy. She followed Lieutenant June through narrow corridors to the bridge of her ship, the Vigilant. The bridge was small but efficient. 5 other officers were already at their stations, all recently awakened from hibernation like her. Through the view screen, Sue could see Earth below, beautiful and blue, with the hegemony's enormous warships hovering in higher orbit. They have no idea, do they? She asked. Commander Ho shook his head. None. Their scans show exactly what we want them to see: outdated propulsion systems, minimal power signatures, and inactive weapons. They've classified us as orbital debris and museum relics. Sue allowed herself a small smile. The arrogance of conquerors, always the same. She moved to her command chair and activated the secure fleet communications network. One by one, status reports came in from other hibernating vessels. The dauntless, steadfast, relentless, all awakening on schedule. Across Earth's orbit, 23 warships were silently powering up their advanced systems while maintaining their disguises. Show me the hegemony communication with Earth, Sue requested. A recording played showing the alien admiral's ultimatum. Earth would become a vassal state or face destruction. General Me's seemingly submissive response followed. Perfect performance, Sue murmured. Admiral Ta believes we're already defeated. Commander Ho approached with a datapad. We've intercepted their tactical communications. They plan to land troops in major cities within 12 hours to oversee the transition of power. Sue's expression hardened. Typical invasion pattern. They'll secure government centers first, then resource production facilities. She turned to her tactical officer. Status of weapons systems. Quantum cannons at 80% charge, Captain. Shield generators fully operational but inactive. Stealth systems functioning perfectly. We still appear dormant to their sensors. Sue studied the positions of the hegemony ships. They had arranged themselves in a standard orbital blockade formation, efficient for monitoring planetary traffic, but vulnerable to attacks from multiple vectors. Their flagship is here, she noted, pointing to the largest vessel. Once the fighting starts, we target their communication arrays first. Cut off their ability to coordinate. Lieutenant June looked concerned. Captain, the hegemony has conquered 16 species. Their military technology is based on plasma-directed energy weapons and conventional shield technology. Sue interrupted. Our quantum cannons will cut through their defenses like they don't exist. She stood and addressed her bridge crew. The hegemony thinks they're facing a primitive species with outdated technology. They have no concept of what the colony wars taught us about warfare, or how we spent 50 years preparing for them. Through the view screen, Sue watched as shuttlecraft departed the hegemony flagship, heading toward Earth's surface for what they thought would be a simple diplomatic meeting, to accept humanity's surrender. Prepare all systems for full activation, she ordered. Coordinate with the fleet. When General Me gives the signal, I want every ship combat ready in under 60 seconds. Commander Ho nodded. And then, Captain Sue's eyes remained fixed on the alien vessels. Then we teach the hegemony why you should never judge an opponent by appearances. Admiral Ta stood confidently on the bridge of his flagship, the Invincible. His 6 eyes blinked in sequence as he watched the diplomatic shuttle return from Earth's surface. The meeting with human leaders had gone exactly as expected. They had signed the submission treaty with minimal resistance. Pathetic creatures, he remarked to his second-in-command. I've never seen a species surrender so quickly. Their orbital defenses are laughable, Officer Jin replied. Most of their ships appear to be powered down completely. Some look like they haven't moved in decades. The tactical display showed the positions of Earth's scattered space vessels. Old, seemingly outdated platforms that barely registered on their advanced sensors. The hegemony fleet had positioned itself in standard conquest formation, with heavy cruisers at strategic points around the planet. Begin landing our occupation forces, Admiral Ta ordered. Start with their major population centers. I want control established before their sun sets. A communications officer suddenly straightened at his console. Admiral, we're detecting unusual energy readings from the human vessels. Explain, Ta demanded. The dormant ships, they're powering up. All of them. Simultaneously. Admiral Ta clicked his mandibles dismissively. Perhaps a last gesture of defiance. Their ancient weapons can't possibly. He never finished the sentence. The view screen flashed blinding white as the supposedly dead human warship nearest to them erupted with activity. What had appeared to be maintenance hatches slid open to reveal weapon ports. Hull plates shifted position, reconfiguring into advanced targeting arrays. Impossible, shouted Officer Jin. In the command center beneath Earth's surface, General Mai watched the tactical display with intense focus. Transmit the activation code now, she ordered. All ships commence attack pattern Theta. The signal flashed to Captain Sue aboard the Vigilant and to every other hibernating vessel in Earth's orbit. Disengaging stealth systems, Sue announced on her bridge. Weapons hot. Target their communications arrays first. Throughout Earth's orbit, 23 warships suddenly roared to life. False hull sections dropped away, revealing gleaming weapon systems. What had appeared to be outdated engines now glowed with contained quantum energy. The hegemony flagship sensors blared with warnings as targeting locks appeared faster than the defensive systems could track. Raise shields. Battle stations. Admiral Ta shouted. But it was already too late. Captain Sue's voice was calm as she gave the order. Fire. The Vigilant's quantum cannons discharge, releasing energy that phased partially outside normal spacetime. The beam passed through the hegemony flagship shields as if they weren't there, slicing its communication array clean off the hull. Across the orbital battlefield, human ships executed perfectly synchronized attacks. Each vessel targeted communication and propulsion systems rather than attempting to destroy the alien ships outright. On the Hegemony flagship's bridge, chaos erupted as systems failed in rapid succession. "We've lost communications with the fleet," an officer reported frantically. "Engines disabled. Secondary weapons offline." Admiral Ta stared in disbelief at the tactical display. 3 cruisers were already drifting powerless. 2 more were attempting to retreat but finding themselves pursued by human vessels that moved with impossible speed and agility. "These can't be the same ships we scanned," he insisted. "It's not possible." On the Vigilant, Captain Sue watched with grim satisfaction as the battle unfolded exactly according to plan. 50 years of preparation were paying off in a perfectly executed first strike. "The Hegemony flagship is disabled but intact," reported her tactical officer. 3 cruisers neutralized. 2 attempting escape. "Pursuit vessels, disable their engines only," Sue ordered. "I want them alive to carry the message back." Within 20 minutes, the entire Hegemony invasion force had been neutralized, with only minimal damage to the human fleet. Not a single Earth vessel had been destroyed or seriously damaged. Admiral Ta stood amid the sparking, damaged bridge of his flagship. His exoskeleton armor cracked from an impact during the battle. The main view screen flickered back to life, showing Captain Sue's face. "This is Captain Sue of Earth's Defense Fleet," she announced calmly. "Your forces have been neutralized. Your weapons are offline. Your engines are disabled." "How?" Ta demanded. "Those ships were dead. Our scans showed primitive technology." Sue smiled slightly. "We wanted you to see what we wanted you to see. Your arrogance made it easy." General Meade joined the transmission from Earth's command center. "Admiral Tai, you have a choice. You can accept our terms for your immediate withdrawal from this system, or we can demonstrate what our weapons do when used at full power." Admiral Ta looked around at his damaged flagship, at the disabled fleet drifting helplessly in Earth's orbit. His species had conquered 16 worlds, and none had ever resisted effectively. None had ever deceived them so completely. "I will hear your terms," he said finally, mandibles clicking in agitation. As the transmission ended, Captain Sue turned to her crew. "Phase 1 complete," she announced. "Now we prepare for their return. They won't underestimate us next time." Grand Marshal, he stood rigid as Admiral Tay's damaged flagship limped into the massive hangar of the Hegemony's Central Command Station. Only 3 of the 20 ships that had been sent to Earth had returned, and those were barely operational. The Grand Marshal's 4 arms were crossed tightly across his armored chest, all 6 eyes narrowed in disbelief. "This is impossible," he stated as Admiral Tai approached, still wearing his cracked battle armor. "You claim a pre-space civilization defeated our finest battle group." Admiral Ta bowed low, a gesture of extreme shame in their culture. "Grand Marshal, I submit myself for punishment, but what I report is true. The humans deceived us completely." They walked to the command center where officers gathered around display screens. Tai inserted a data crystal, and footage from the battle appeared. It showed what appeared to be dormant, outdated human ships suddenly transforming. Panels shifting, weapon ports appearing where none had been detected, and energy signatures spiking to levels the Hegemony had never encountered. "Those are not the same vessels we scanned upon arrival," Tai explained. "Or rather, they are the same vessels, but they were disguised." Intelligence Officer Jun stepped forward with a datapad. "We've analyzed the captured information. The humans call it hibernation technology. Their ships remained in a state of minimal power usage that made them appear dormant or obsolete." "That's not possible," Grand Marshal he insisted. "Our scanners would have detected any significant energy source." "They developed quantum masking," Officer Jun continued. "The technology operates partially outside normal spacetime, making it invisible to conventional sensors." Admiral Todd gestured to more footage showing the human weapons cutting through Hegemony shields. "Their offensive capabilities are equally advanced. They disabled our entire fleet in under 20 minutes. The command center fell silent as this information sank in. The hegemony had conquered 16 species across 3 spiral arms. None had offered significant resistance. The concept of defeat was almost incomprehensible. How? Grand Marshal He finally asked. How could a single world develop technology that surpasses our entire coalition? Officer Jun activated another display showing historical records recovered from Earth's information networks. Their history explains it. Unlike other species we've encountered, humans have spent most of their existence fighting each other. The screen showed centuries of warfare, primitive at first, then increasingly sophisticated. World wars, Cold Wars, colony wars. 50 years ago, humans fought a devastating civil war between Earth and their colony worlds. Jun explained. It nearly destroyed their civilization, but it forced incredible technological advancement. When peace finally came, they didn't disarm. They prepared. Prepared for what? He demanded. For us, Admiral Ta said simply, or someone like us. They detected our expansion pattern years ago. Everything. Their seemingly outdated ships, their diplomatic submissiveness, was a carefully crafted deception. Grand Marshal He paced the command floor, processing this information. You're suggesting that humans deliberately appeared weak to lure us into a trap. Exactly, Jun confirmed. And we have another problem. She brought up new data showing communications traffic throughout the hegemony. News of our defeat is spreading. 3 subject worlds have already begun questioning their allegiance. If the humans could defeat us. The implications were clear. The hegemony maintained control through the perception of invincibility. That perception was now shattered. We must respond with overwhelming force, Grand Marshal He declared. Gather the entire fleet. We will return to Earth with 1,000 ships and show these humans the true might of the hegemony. Admiral Ta stepped forward cautiously. Grand Marshal, with respect, I would advise against that action. You dare question me after your failure. It is because of my failure that I speak, Tay replied. We still don't understand the full extent of human military capability. They disabled our ships when they could have destroyed them. They let us return to deliver a message. Officer Jun nodded agreement, and their hibernation technology suggests long-term strategic thinking. If those were their orbital defenses, what else might they have prepared? In his private chamber later that night, Grand Marshal He reviewed the battle footage again. Something about the human tactics bothered him. They had been too precise, too coordinated for a species that had never fought an interstellar war before. A quiet chime announced Admiral Tay's arrival. You wish to see me, Grand Marshal. These humans, he said, not looking away from the display. Did they make any demands after defeating your fleet? Only that we leave their system immediately. They proposed opening diplomatic relations, but as equals, not subjects. He turned all 6 eyes toward Ta. Equals. No species has ever made such a demand. No species has ever earned the right, Tai replied quietly. The Grand Marshal stood silently for a long moment. In 16 conquests, the hegemony had never encountered a true technological rival. The political implications were enormous. Prepare a diplomatic vessel, he finally ordered. I will go to Earth myself. I must understand these humans better before we decide our next move. As Admiral Tai left, he returned to studying the battle footage, watching with new respect as the supposedly ancient human ships roared to life and systematically dismantled his fleet. Grand Marshal He stood on the bridge of his command ship as the massive hegemony armada emerged from hyperspace near Earth. 1,000 warships arranged in perfect attack formation, the largest military force ever assembled in the galaxy's history. The Grand Marshal had ignored the diplomatic options. After careful consideration, he had decided that humanity's existence posed too great a threat to the hegemony's control. All ships report ready, announced his second-in-command. Weapons charged, shields at maximum. Through the view screen, he could see Earth's small fleet in defensive position. Only 50 human vessels against his 1,000. Even with their advanced technology, the numerical advantage should ensure victory. Send the message, he ordered. Demand their immediate surrender or face extinction. The transmission was sent, but the response came faster than expected. Captain Sue's face appeared on the main screen, her expression calm despite facing overwhelming odds. Grand Marshal He, she said with a respectful nod. We hoped you would choose diplomacy. Your technology makes you dangerous, he replied. The hegemony cannot allow such a threat to exist. Sue's expression didn't change. Before you begin your attack, there's something you should see. The transmission shifted to show space around the hegemony fleet. Suddenly, small distortions appeared throughout the formation. Space itself seemed to ripple, and where there had been empty void, hundreds of human warships materialized. Impossible, gasped an officer. Our sensors detected nothing. Captain Sue's face reappeared. Another deception, Grand Marshal. What you saw in our first encounter was only our orbital defense force. This is our actual navy. Tactical displays showed the hegemony fleet now surrounded by over 2,000 human vessels that had remained completely invisible until this moment. Phase shift complete, came General Mi's voice from Earth's command center. All ships in position. On the hegemony flagship, alarms blared as targeting locks appeared faster than the systems could count them. Every hegemony vessel was targeted by multiple human ships. They were waiting for us, he realized aloud. They knew exactly where we would emerge from hyperspace. Predictive quantum computing, Captain Sue explained over the still-open channel. We calculated your most likely attack vectors and had ships waiting in phase-shifted space. For the first time in his long military career, Grand Marshal He felt genuine fear. The humans had outmaneuvered him completely. You could destroy us all right now, he said. Sue nodded. We could, but that's not why we're here. Below in Earth's command center, General Mi stood before the Global Council as the confrontation unfolded on the main screen. Representatives from every human nation watched in tense silence. Authorization to fire, General, asked the weapons officer. Mi looked to the council chairperson, who slowly shook her head. Hold fire, Mi ordered. Maintain targeting locks, but take no aggressive action. Back on the hegemony flagship, Grand Marshal He was considering his limited options when a new transmission came through. This time it was from an older human woman in civilian clothes. Grand Marshal He, I am Chairperson Yoon of Earth's United Council. We invite you to meet with us on neutral ground. Our lunar base would be suitable. Come with a small delegation to discuss terms. Terms? He's mandibles clicked in surprise. You expect me to negotiate while your weapons target my fleet. Just as yours target our planet, Yoon replied calmly. But consider this. We could have opened fire the moment your fleet arrived. Instead, we're talking. 3 hours later, Grand Marshal He found himself walking through the sterile corridors of humanity's lunar base. The facility was impressive, clearly built with advanced technology, but lacking the ornate decorations common in hegemony structures. In a large circular chamber, he met with the human delegation. Captain Sue was there, along with General Mi and Chairperson Yoon. Other human military and civilian leaders sat around a simple table. You understand this changes everything, he said as the meeting began. No species has ever challenged the hegemony like this. Perhaps it's time for change, Chairperson Yoon suggested. The galaxy is large enough for cooperation rather than conquest. Over the next 12 hours, the foundations for a new relationship were established. The Treaty of Luma, as it would come to be known, recognized Earth as an independent power equal to the hegemony. Trade agreements were proposed. Cultural exchanges planned. As they prepared to depart, Grand Marshal He approached Captain Sue privately. You could have destroyed us, he noted. Why didn't you? Sue considered the question carefully. 50 years ago, humanity nearly destroyed itself through war. We learned that victory through destruction isn't really victory at all. 1 month later, the first human diplomatic mission departed for the hegemony homeworld. Captain Sue stood at the viewscreen of her ship, watching Earth shrink behind them. The hibernation pods had been removed, no longer necessary. Her crew would remain awake for this journey. Course set for the Hegemony Central Worlds, reported her navigator. Sue nodded, thinking about how far humanity had come. From merely destroying themselves to finding their place among the stars. From deception to open diplomacy. Take us to warp, she ordered. It's time the galaxy got to know the real humanity.